Hello, welcome to another episode of Key Facts You Probably Weren't Aware of as a Californian. In the news today, there's a lot of people talking about how Trump's done and he's over and the poll numbers show that and Joe Biden's going to win the presidency. Two things. One, all the experts and all the polls said Trump was going to lose in 2016. They were all off. Why do we believe these people again? I literally see Californians going, the poll numbers show Trump's going to lose. That's the same dumbass thing you did in 2016. Why are you doing it again? You look stupid. Why are you buying the polls? Secondly, all the polls were wrong. All the experts were wrong. The only poll that was accurate about Trump winning was a California poll from a California university that was criticized by Nate Silver, CNN, MSNBC. Everybody got 2016 wrong, and they're doing the same thing again. Polls say, experts say. You look stupid buying that. Why are you buying that? Now, maybe Biden does win. Okay, I don't buy the polls are an indicator of that or the experts. The system wants them, that's what they're going to say. But let's imagine that Biden does win. Here's why it means nothing for you as a Californian, and life won't get really that much better for you at all. AKA, the Biden presidency isn't going to make life better for Californians magically and everything goes to unicorn land. Not going to happen. Here's why. So here's the word you need to know. It's a Spanish word. It's kind of a pejorative. It's called vendido. That's vendido. The longer pronunciation is vendor cerrado. I'll get to what it means in a second. Just remember that. So the Biden presidency as president will equal two things. One, more standard ignoring of California, again, by Democrats in America, based out of New York City, and what I call minority super mega sellout theater. So minorities are going to sell out here in California to back Biden because they want to be thought of well by New York, not Californians, because they're owned by the American Democratic Party, not the California Democratic Party. Additionally, life isn't going to get that much better. So let's jump right into it. Here's what I mean. So Joe Biden never came to the California Democratic primary. Everybody but Joe showed up in California to win our votes. Joe never came out at all. Willie Brown, who's the most famous African-American politician in California, directly criticized Joe Biden. You want Californians' votes and you can't even come out here for the convention? Willie Brown's commentary on Joe Biden was not seen anywhere. Made the news, and then you never heard from it again. What you did see was Kamala Harris coming out and saying, I support Joe Biden. You did see Professor X, Xavier Becerra, Latino, say, it's ridiculous that Latinos wouldn't back Biden. That's all horse garbage. So Biden didn't come out here for a primary. Couldn't spend time in Californians during the Democratic convention. Only one who wouldn't do that. Still won the thing. And then minorities in California who were Democratic Party officials lined up to say how good he was. Interesting thing is that Willie Brown, who's termed out and can't run for office and knows the political scene, hates Joe Biden and says you're a sellout and shouldn't have anything to do with California. So why is the most famous minority in California politics saying something totally opposite from every minority in California politics? Guy knows the California political system, can't run for office, can say whatever he wants. Everybody who still can run for office is saying something totally different than what he says, and he's a minority too? Interesting. So, Joe Biden, one second, sorry. Fresno's at 106 today. So, all right, there we go. The other thing is that Joe Biden never came to the California Democratic primary in January 2019. He was the only one that did that. Part of it was they're saying he wanted to hedge his bets and campaign in other areas. But the other part of it is that Joe Biden has a horrible record with Latinos. So you will not see this in mainstream liberal news, but Latinos have a big problem with the Obama administration and Joe Biden too. Locking kids in cages and separating them from their parents was invented in the Obama administration with Joe Biden. Latino activists know that, but you won't see it in the mainstream liberal news at all. But Latinos know that. That's how I know that. Additionally, Joe Biden and Obama did the mass deportations at levels never before seen before. Joe Biden was confronted by a Latino who was an immigrant with a thick accent about his mass deportations. And Joe Biden looked him in the face with an angry expression and said, "Vote for Trump." To a Latino who was asking him, "You need to earn my vote. Hey, you did all this horrible stuff to Latinos. What about that?" Joe Biden did not answer his question. He yelled at the man, insulted him, and said, "Vote for Trump if you don't like it." Joe Biden later told an African-American radio host, "I decide who's black. If you ain't voting for me, you ain't black." An old white man told African-American people on an African-American radio station, he determines who's black. Joe Biden didn't come out to the convention because he knew California is a majority-minority place. Most of America isn't like that. We have a ton of Latinos, and he would be called out on his reputation during the Obama administration for mass deportations and locking children up in cages. So he doesn't come out to the Democratic primary. He doesn't get asked those questions. He wins the nomination anyways. And then what happens? Famous California political leaders who are minorities come out and say this guy's the greatest thing ever. Becerra did not bring up the insult that Biden did to a Latino. Becerra did not bring up that Biden's Latina advisor quit over that. None of that was mentioned. Becerra just says, "Oh, it's silly to think any Latino wouldn't back Biden." Kamala Harris called Joe Biden a racist who backed segregationists, and then when he wins the nomination goes, "That's our guy!" Minority sellout theater. Vendido means sellout. Literally, the phrase is vendor cerrado, which means closed store or sold out goods. So you're going to see minority sellout theater when Joe Biden wins. Joe Biden will still be inept, not understand minorities, and say insulting things when California is a majority minority state. So we're not going to get a guy who understands us, knows how to deal with minorities well, and he's going to continue to say Trump-like stupid things, and minorities here in California are going to back him. It's going to be anti-California values and really sad to watch. You're going to be saddened and disgusted with California officials once that man, if he wins election. Watch. He's going to do stuff, and you're going to go, "That's not what we would back." And watch how your California officials, especially if they have dark-colored skin, jump up and say, "That's our guy, and he's wonderful." That's where it's going to go. Also, don't think you're going to get helped out in a crisis. So, again, sorry, it's 106 today. So, don't think you're going to get helped out in a crisis. A lot of people criticize Donald Trump for his reaction to the coronavirus crisis, and that's true. He did a horrible job. But Joe Biden didn't do any better. Joe Biden, in January and February 14th, attended two different Democratic conventions. People were talking about coronavirus. He said absolutely nothing. So this man wants to be leader. He had two opportunities, January and February, to talk about the coronavirus, said nothing at all. Nothing. In fact, the only time Joe Biden talks about the coronavirus is when he's caught off guard and asked a question by Gayle King later on in February after the second convention. So he never even addressed it. Gayle King caught him off guard. He didn't even have a good answer. So when we're talking about a crisis, the guy can't even bring it up, can't provide leadership for months, and is caught off guard actually trying to answer questions about it. In fact, and then in March, the very next month, the news talks about how Joe Biden appeared to disappear from the campaign trail when people needed leadership. So, in a crisis, Joe Biden's not going to know what to do. Joe Biden's going to say nothing, and Joe Biden's going to run away into his little hole and disappear. How do we know that? Because he already did it. So, if Californians, you think you're going to get better emergency response in a crisis? No. Also, I want to point out that Obama, who was a decent man, did nothing for us when we asked for a bailout in 2010 during an economic crisis, and did nothing for us when we asked for help during the drought. That was two crises. Biden was right there with Obama. They did nothing. Then we have another crisis. He can't even jump into leadership on the campaign trail. And we expect this guy to be different than Trump? Probably not going to happen. Additionally, he don't get us. We're minorities, real minorities who are willing to speak up for California, like Willie Brown, call them out. Fake ones who are more worried about rising in the American Democratic Party than taking care of Californians will back him up and be an apologist. So, sellout minorities, an old white man who don't get us at all, doesn't understand us, trying to run us, gonna act like a typical Democrat who doesn't come here. Obama barely campaigned here. Hillary Clinton made no stops here when she was running against Bernie. The only time she did was when she thought she might actually lose the primary to Bernie. She otherwise spent no time campaigning in California. But Clinton and Obama both took 40 to 60% of their money from Californians for their campaign, but spent almost no time here. That's what Joe Biden did. Give me your money and shut up. Incompetency in leadership and sellout minorities. Is it Trump? No. Is it going to be better than Trump? Sure. But don't act like we're not going to be a donor state. The feds aren't going to tell us what to do. We're still going to be held down by asking them for permission. Our issues will be ignored. We'll have a federal government that doesn't get us, and we'll have politicians who kowtow to them because they want people in New York to listen to them rather than Californians. Facts.